First at noon, condolence call controversy. Today, President Donald Trump is denying claims that he made an insensitive comment to the widow of a fallen soldier. Now, this contradicts South Florida Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, who says she was with the widow at the time of the call. CBS 4's Gary Nelson is live in the newsroom with today's developments. Gary?
Well, President Trump, as is his style, is fighting back now in a dust-up over a fallen soldier in general, over fallen soldiers in general, and Sergeant LaDavid Johnson of Miami Gardens in particular. It has turned a time of sorrow and grief into something of an ugly political back and forth. Maisha Johnson collapses on the casket of her husband, Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, as it was brought to Miami International Airport. This heartbreaking moment for the couple with 2 children and a third on the way was preceded by a telephone call from President Trump. He had come under fire for not reaching out to the families of 4 soldiers killed in an ISIS ambush in Niger. Congresswoman Frederica Wilson was in the car on the way to the airport when the president called on speakerphone.
He said to the wife, well, I guess he knew what he was getting into. How insensitive can you be?
Wilson says the widow was livid, sobbed the rest of the trip to the airport. The White House Tuesday night said it wouldn't comment on the president's conversations with slain soldiers' families, but President Trump fired off an angry tweet saying, Democrat Congresswoman totally fabricated what I said to the wife of a soldier who died in action, and I have proof. Sad! Exclamation mark. Some wondered online if the president had proof, why didn't he produce it? Reached Tuesday night, Congresswoman Wilson repeated her assertion that the president said the sergeant knew what he was signing up for, but that it still hurt. Trump reached out to the families of the Niger ambush only yesterday, 2 weeks after the attack. He had to retract earlier assertions that President Obama didn't call families of the fallen. While that plays out, questions remain about how these 4 advisors came to be successfully ambushed and why it took 2 days for Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's body to be recovered.
Why it took so long for them to find him. I wanted to find out how he was separated from the rest of the soldiers.
Also under investigation, how the unit in plain pickup trucks without armor came to be attacked in an area where the U.S. military believed ISIS did not have an armed presence. Now, breaking just within the last half hour, Sergeant Johnson's mother, who was in the car yesterday, confirmed to the Associated Press today Frederica Wilson's account of the president's call, saying that Mr. Trump disrespected her son and her son's widow. Now, the group 5,000 Role Models of Excellence has established a GoFundMe page to help the children of Sergeant Johnson with their college educations. You can find a link to that at cbsmiami.com. Viewing for Sergeant Johnson is scheduled for Friday. He will be buried with full honors on Saturday. In the newsroom, Gary Nelson, CBS 4 News.
Thank you. And there's more on the story. Just minutes ago, President Trump was asked about the phone call, and here's what he had to say.
Didn't say what that congresswoman said. Didn't say it at all. She knows it, and she now is not saying it. I did not say what she said, and I'd like her to make the statement again, because I did not say what she said. I had a very nice conversation with the woman, with the wife, who sounded like a lovely woman. Did not say what the congresswoman said, and most people aren't too surprised to hear that.
What is the proof, Mr. President?
Let her make her statement again, and then you'll find out.
Now, obviously, the story is still developing at this hour. We have several crews working on it. We'll have extensive coverage later tonight starting at 5 o'clock.